Hey, you ever pick up a penny off the ground and think, it's just a penny, it's basically pocket change, right? Well, what if I told you that one specific penny, the 1996 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, could be worth a whopping $1.2 million? Yeah, that's right, $1 million for a single coin. Now, before you roll your eyes and toss your change jar across the room, let me tell you, I'm not kidding. And no, this isn't a clickbait trick. I've got the details, and trust me, you're gonna want to stick around to hear this. So let me take you back a few years. I was at a garage sale, digging through a box of coins, and I found a 1996 D penny. I didn't think much of it, honestly. I thought I'd just pocket it for a rainy day or toss it into the random change jar at home. But something made me double check, and that small decision changed everything. Long story short, the coin ended up being worth way more than I ever imagined. Now, I'm here to tell you about it, so stick with me. Alright, now that you're intrigued, let's break this down. The 1996 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is like that unsung hero of coins. Everyone thinks the big money coins are the old ones, like the ones from the 1800s or the rare ones from mint errors. But nope, sometimes the true treasure is hiding in plain sight in the pocket change you've had sitting in your drawer for years. It all starts with the D mint mark. A lot of collectors look for pennies with mint marks because they're made in different locations. In this case, the D mint mark stands for the Denver Mint. While you might think, big deal, it's just a letter. That D can make all the difference. The 1996 D penny was produced in huge numbers, but only a small percentage have that perfect combination of features that makes them valuable. These things are like the hidden gems of the penny world. Now, you're probably wondering, how in the world is a regular penny worth $1.2 million? That's where the magic happens. The 1996 D penny is rare in a very specific way. Not every penny from that year has the features that make it so valuable. The coin must be in great condition. No scratches, dings, or wear. Basically, it has to look like it just came out of the mint. The design of Abraham Lincoln has to be sharp, and the coin must have a nice, clean finish. You don't want a blurry Lincoln. Certain coins are worth more if they were minted in small quantities or have specific errors. A rare error or just a limited batch makes a huge difference. These pennies are out there, but they're tough to find. Some collectors have been hunting for years and still haven't found one. But once you do, well, that's when things get really interesting. Imagine finding one of these pennies in your pocket change. You'd literally be holding a $1.2 million coin. Now, let's talk about the market for a second. The market for coins like this has been heating up. If you find one in top condition and you decide to get it certified, you could be looking at an offer for well over $1 million. But of course, not all 1996 D pennies are worth that much. Most are still just worth their face value of 1 cent. But if you find a mint condition one, you're sitting on a small fortune. First things first, start checking your spare change. Don't just toss pennies around like they're worthless. I know, you've probably already got that old coin jar full of random pennies, nickels, and dimes that never seem to add up to anything. But trust me, you could be holding on to a gold mine without even realizing it. Take a good look at your 1996 D pennies. Does Lincoln look sharp? Is the coin in good shape? No chips or heavy scratches? If so, hold on to it. If you think you've found something, get it graded. You don't want to miss out on its true value. A professional grading service can tell you exactly what it's worth, and if it's worth millions, you'll want that certificate for sure. Keep an eye on auction sites and coin dealers. You'll want to know what similar coins are selling for. Trust me, the market is out there and it's a jungle, but let me be clear here. Finding a 1996 D penny worth over $1 million isn't easy. You're not going to stumble upon one every day. But hey, you never know. That's the fun part of collecting coins. It's like a treasure hunt, and sometimes the best finds are the ones you least expect. Alright, let's wrap this up. If you walk away with one thing from today's video, let it be this. Check your pennies. That little 1996 D could be more than just pocket change. And who knows? Maybe the next time you're digging through that change jar or scouring through your loose change in the car, you'll find a hidden treasure that'll make you rich. Seriously, I'm not kidding. $1.2 million is a game changer, but hey, don't just take my word for it. Start digging, start researching, and keep your eyes peeled for those rare finds. I'm here to help you uncover the valuable coins hiding in plain sight, and if you don't want to miss more tips and strategies for building your coin collection, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss a chance to find coins worth big money. Thanks for watching, and good luck out there on your coin hunting adventures. Who knows? You could be the next person to find that $1,000,000 penny. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on rare coins, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll keep bringing you the best coin hunting strategies and money-making tips. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future finds. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Let me ask you something. What's the most you've ever spent on a coin? A couple of bucks here and there, maybe a few dollars for a nice shiny one? Well, what if I told you there's a penny that could fetch over $1,000,000? Sounds insane, right? But it's true. The 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is worth a whopping $1.3 million today. Yeah, you heard that right. A penny. Now, before you go scouring through your couch cushions looking for this golden ticket, let's dive into the story behind this rare little coin. Trust me, it's going to be worth your time. So grab your magnifying glasses and let's jump into the world of this seemingly insignificant penny that could change your life. Alright, first things first. What exactly makes the 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny so valuable? It's all about rarity and a little bit of mystery. You see, every coin minted in the US is usually marked with a mint mark that indicates where it was produced. You've got your D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and of course, P for Philadelphia. But in 1979, some of the pennies minted at the Philadelphia Mint accidentally got struck without any mint mark. And just like that, you've got yourself a very rare coin. Now, let's get a little nerdy here. While a lot of 1979 pennies were made, only a small number of them came out without that mint mark, which immediately made them more rare. It's like if you're walking through a vintage car show and you find one that's exactly like the others, except this one has no badges on it. That's the one everyone's going to want to see, because it's different, unique, and rare. Well, that's where the story gets juicy. A coin like this, which doesn't come around very often, automatically becomes a collector's dream. Collectors want the rare stuff, the oddities, the outliers. The 1979 no-mint mark penny is like the unicorn of the coin world. It's one of those coins you don't expect to find, and when you do, your wallet's going to thank you. Now, let me take a quick detour and share a personal story. I was at a coin convention a few years ago, just browsing through bins of coins. You know, the ones where the dealer has about 1,000 pennies in a pile, and you're just hoping to find that one gem. I was chatting with this older guy who had been collecting coins for decades. He was telling me about all these rare finds when he casually mentioned a 1979 no-mint mark penny. Of course, I was all ears, but I didn't think much of it at the time. He said, "You know, these pennies are worth over $1,000,000 now, but I found one years ago and sold it for just a couple $100." The look on his face when he said that was priceless. It was like he realized he'd sold a gold mine in his sleep. When it comes to coin collecting, knowledge is power. This penny is a symbol of just how much the coin market can surprise you. Coins that seem ordinary can actually be worth a fortune if you know what to look for. And that's what makes this whole hobby or obsession, depending on how you look at it, so exciting. Let's break down a few more details. The 1979 no-mint mark penny was only discovered by collectors after they realized something was off with the normal 1979 pennies. They started noticing that some didn't have the expected mint mark. This tiny detail turned into the gold mine we're talking about today. Now, the 1979 penny is famous for its copper composition, its deep reddish-brown color, and most importantly, the lack of a mint mark. If you're lucky enough to find one, you're holding on to a rare piece of history. So, let's talk about how to spot one of these elusive pennies. First off, look for the year. Obviously, it needs to be 1979. But the real magic happens when you examine the coin closely and look for that mint mark, or rather, the absence of it. No mint mark and you're in business. It's important to note that not every 1979 penny without a mint mark is worth $1 million. Some are in terrible condition, while others might not even make it into the $1,000 range. But the well-preserved ones? Those are the ones that collectors will fight over. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, I've got a pile of pennies from 1979. How do I know if I've struck gold? Here's the thing. Condition is key. A coin that's in good shape with minimal wear and tear is going to be worth way more than one that's been through the washer a few times. And if that penny has a clean, sharp strike with no dings or scratches, you could be holding onto a future $1 million baby. Well, don't go tossing it around in your pocket like it's spare change. Handle it carefully. Keep it in a safe place like a coin sleeve or a protective holder so it stays in pristine condition. Remember, the better the condition, the higher the value. If you're ever in doubt, it's a good idea to get your coins professionally graded. A coin grading service will assess your penny, give it a grade based on its quality, and tell you how much it's worth. It's like getting a stamp of approval that says, yep, this penny's legit. The 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Who would have thought that a penny could be worth over $1 million, right? But that's the beauty of coin collecting. What may seem like pocket change can actually be a small fortune if you know what to look for. Before you start tearing through all your old pennies, keep in mind that these little treasures don't come around every day. But now, with the tips I've shared, you've got a much better shot at finding one, or at least knowing what to look for when you're out there hunting. If you enjoyed today's Coin Talk, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies coming your way. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next one. And hey, if you found a cool coin recently, drop a comment below. I love hearing about your treasure hunts. Hey, what's up, coin enthusiasts? Ever heard of a penny being worth more than your car? Sounds crazy, right? But believe it or not, there's a 2019 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny out there that's sitting pretty at a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.4 million for a penny that's probably just lying around in your change jar right now. In this video, I'm going to break down how this small piece of metal can pack such a huge punch in the coin world and how you might have one of these hidden treasures just waiting to make you a fortune. Stick around because we're about to dive into a coin story that'll make you start checking your loose change like a pro. First off, let's talk about what makes the 2019 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny so special. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a penny. It's got Abraham Lincoln's face on it, big deal? Well, it's actually a huge deal. The 2019 no-mint mark penny is rare because the US Mint didn't put a mint mark on the coin, which is usually where you'd see the letter D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. Without that mint mark, these pennies are far less common than their marked counterparts. Now, the reason this coin's value skyrocketed has to do with a little thing called a die error. Basically, the US Mint accidentally left off the mint mark on some of the 2019 pennies. At first, no one thought much of it. I mean, pennies are pennies, right? But once coin collectors started noticing this unusual error, demand for the penny shot up like a rocket, and that's where the $1.4 million comes in. When a coin like this has such an error and is in pristine condition, it becomes super valuable. We're talking about a very specific, very rare penny, and those are the types of coins that get collectors' blood pumping. Let me tell you, I've been there. I used to think, oh, it's just a penny, I'll throw it in the jar with all the others. But one day, I was at a local coin show when I overheard someone talking about a rare penny they had found in their pocket change. He said he had a no-mint mark penny, and I laughed. I thought, yeah right, there's no way a penny could be worth anything. But then, the guy showed me a photo of one, a beautiful 2019 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. My jaw dropped. I mean, this penny was worth more than my entire coin collection at the time and probably worth more than my car. It was crazy. I immediately went home and started rummaging through my collection of pennies, hoping to find a gem. Spoiler alert, I didn't find anything close to that. But it got me hooked and I haven't looked back since. Now, I'm more careful with every penny I come across. Trust me, it's all about keeping your eyes open, paying attention, and doing your homework. That's how I learned about this specific coin, and now I'm sharing it with you. Now that we know what makes the 2019 no mint mark penny unique, let's talk about why it's worth such an insane amount of money. It all comes down to rarity and demand. The US Mint produced billions of pennies in 2019, but only a small number came without the mint mark. And out of those, only a handful are in perfect mint condition. Collectors are always on the lookout for rare coins, and when one like this pops up, the bidding wars begin. This coin is also significant because it's part of the Lincoln Cent series, which has been in circulation for over a century. The 2019 coin is part of a larger set of pennies that collectors are very passionate about. So when a rare, mint-era coin like this appears, collectors can't get their hands on it fast enough. Also, the condition of the coin plays a huge role. If you find one in perfect or near-perfect condition, meaning it's not too worn, scratched, or damaged, its value increases exponentially. Coins like this are more than just money, they're pieces of history that people are willing to pay big bucks for. So now you're probably wondering, how do I find one of these bad boys? Well, here's the good news, you don't have to be a coin expert to start looking for rare pennies. I started out just like you, wondering where to look, and now I've learned a thing or two. You'd be surprised how many of these rare pennies might be hiding in your wallet or pocket change. Keep an eye out for 2019 pennies without a mint mark. The condition of the penny is super important. The closer it is to mint condition, the more valuable it is. Look for ones that are shiny and free from scratches, dings, or discoloration. If you find a 2019 penny with no mint mark, hold onto it and check the details. The rarer the coin, the more it's worth. Don't just toss it in a jar without checking first. Once you think you have a potential winner, take it to a professional for grading. This is where experts evaluate its condition and rarity, which can give you an idea of its market value. Let's say you've found a 2019 no mint mark penny and you've confirmed it's the real deal. What do you do now? Well, if you've got a penny worth a potential $1.4 million, you'll want to sell it to a reputable coin dealer or auction house. Online platforms like eBay can also be a good place to auction it off to the highest bidder. If you're unsure, start by getting it appraised. Many coin dealers will give you a free appraisal, and if they're interested, they'll offer to buy it from you. But make sure you shop around for the best price. This penny could change your life, so don't settle for the first offer you get. The 2019 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is worth more than a lot of people realize, and now you're in the know about why it's such a big deal. Remember, when it comes to rare coins, it's all about being patient, doing your research, and keeping your eyes peeled for those hidden gems. Who knows, maybe the next penny you pick up could make you a millionaire. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more tips about coins worth big money and strategies to find them. I'll be dropping more videos just like this one to help you take your coin collection to the next level. Hey, guys! Imagine this, you're just casually going through your change, maybe you're waiting for your coffee, and bam, there it is. That one little coin that could be worth more than your car. A single penny. Yeah, you heard me right. Today we're diving deep into the 1982 Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin you might find lurking in your pocket, and it could be sitting on a small fortune. Trust me, this is one penny that could be worth way more than you think. Stick around to learn how this little guy could land you a cool $1.50 million. So grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's talk about how one penny could completely change your life. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss more tips like this on how to turn your coin collection into serious cash. Alright, let's set the stage here. We're talking about a coin that most people would overlook, probably toss into a jar somewhere, or worse, just throw into the coin return slot at the store. But here's the twist, some 1982 pennies are worth an incredible $1.5 million. Yep, you heard that right. Let's break it down. The history of the 1982 penny. First, a little backstory. The 1982 penny is part of a key transition in the history of U.S. coins. You see, the U.S. Mint was in the middle of changing the composition of pennies in the early 80s. Up until then, pennies were primarily made of copper, but in 1982 they switched over to a zinc core with a thin copper coating to save on costs. This is where things get interesting. There were a few special pennies made in 1982 that still had the old copper alloy, and that's where the magic happens. Now, not every 1982 penny is worth a ton of cash. In fact, it's only certain ones that made the cut, specifically the ones that were minted in Denver, the famous 1982 D pennies. These coins can sometimes have errors or features that make them unique, like a double die or off-center minting. And here's the kicker. These flaws, as rare as they are, can dramatically increase a penny's value. What makes the 1982 D penny worth so much? If you're lucky enough to have one of these pennies, what makes it so valuable? Well, it's all about rarity. Like any collector's item, the fewer there are, the more they're worth. There's a good chance your everyday 1982 D penny is worth just 1 cent, but if you find one with a flaw or misprint, you're looking at something much more significant. One of the most famous examples is the 1982 D double die penny, which features an obvious doubling of the letters and numbers on the coin. A small percentage of these coins made it out of the mint, and their rarity means they can fetch as much as $1.5 million. Let that sink in. Just one little penny, which you might have just tossed in a jar somewhere, could be worth a small fortune. Look for clear doubling in the word liberty and the year 1982 on the coin's obverse. It's subtle, but if you catch it, you've got yourself a winner. A magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe could be your best friend here. Great question. As we mentioned, the most valuable ones have clear doubling in the inscriptions. So when you're checking those pennies, keep an eye on the fine details. Look for the D mint mark on the coin. This is key. If it's a 1982 D coin and you spot any weird errors or double images, you've got a potential gold mine. A coin in pristine condition is going to be worth more than a worn-out, scratched-up one. So keep your pennies in good shape and avoid harsh cleaning, which can devalue them. Now, let me tell you a personal story here. A couple of years ago, I was at a local coin show just browsing when a guy came in with a bag of pennies. Nothing too unusual, right? Well, this guy had one of these 1982 D double die pennies in the mix. He had no idea what he was holding. To him, it was just another penny. He showed it to a dealer, and the dealer's eyes nearly popped out of his head. That one penny was worth over $1 million. It was crazy. The guy walked out of there smiling all the way to the bank, and it got me thinking about how many other people are sitting on coins like this and don't even know it. Well, let's break it down. Coin collectors, especially those who specialize in errors, are always on the hunt for rare finds like this. The market for coins like these can be fierce, and people are willing to pay big bucks for a piece of history, especially when that piece is so rare and in such great condition. You could take it to a coin show, list it at a reputable auction house, or even look into selling it through online platforms like eBay. Just make sure to get your coin properly authenticated before you put it up for sale. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on potential buyers just because you didn't take the time to verify its authenticity. Well, let's be real for a second. Finding a 1982 D penny with a valuable flaw is like finding a needle in a haystack. These coins are incredibly rare, so don't get too disheartened if you go through your entire jar of pennies and don't find anything. It's not a common occurrence, but when it happens, it's like winning the lottery. Alright, to wrap it all up, that little 1982 D penny you've been holding onto could be more than just a lowly cent. If you're lucky enough to find one with a rare error, it could land you a cool $1.5 million. And while these finds are rare, they're still out there. So the next time you're sifting through your change or hitting up a coin shop, remember this: a penny saved might just be a penny that makes you a millionaire. If you're serious about turning your coin collection into a fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and strategies coming your way to help you spot rare, valuable coins that are hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you do find one of these pennies, I want to hear all about it in the comments. Don't forget to let me know what it's worth. Hey, coin lovers! Ever stumbled across a penny that made you stop, look twice, and think, this thing's worth more than my car? Well, what if I told you there's a 1986 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny out there that could fetch a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? Yeah, you heard that right, $1.6 million for a penny. But no, I'm as serious as that penny you dropped last week in the grocery store aisle. Stick around, because I'm about to take you on a ride through the world of rare coins and share exactly why this little penny could make you a millionaire. Spoiler alert, it's not just any penny, it's a treasure that could be hiding in your coin jar right now. So buckle up, grab your magnifying glass, and let's dive into this shiny story of one coin that's worth more than most people's annual salary. Alright, let's start with the basics. Now, we all know the 1986 penny. It's your typical penny that you'll find littered around in your change jar, in the cracks of your couch, or buried at the bottom of your purse. But here's the kicker, not every 1986 penny is created equal. You see, in 1986, the US Mint released a batch of pennies, some with a mint mark and some without. But the ones with no mint mark are the stars of the show. Why? Because they're rare, and I mean rare. Only a very small number of 1986 pennies were struck without a mint mark, which gives them an insane rarity factor. And that rarity factor, my friends, is what drives their price up into the stratosphere, $1.6 million to be exact. Now, you're probably wondering how in the world a penny that was made in 1986, when most of us were still rocking mullets and cassette tapes, could be worth so much. Well, it's all about the minting process and some very specific quirks. Let me break it down. Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco? If the penny was made in Philadelphia, it's supposed to have a P mint mark. Easy enough, right? But here's where it gets wild. In 1986, some pennies were mistakenly struck without that mint mark, making them incredibly rare. So all I have to do is check my change jar for a 1986 penny without a P and I'm rich? Well, not exactly. There's more to it than just a missing mint mark. You also need to consider the condition of the penny. A worn-out, beat-up penny might not get you the millions, no matter how rare it is. But a well-preserved one, with sharp details and minimal wear, could be worth more than your entire savings account. We're talking about the difference between a dime and a diamond. Let me tell you a little story to make this even more relatable. A few years ago, I was going through my coin collection, you know, the one that's about as organized as a teenager's room, when I found a bunch of old pennies. I thought, hey, I should check these out, maybe there's a gem hiding in there. So I started looking through them and I stumbled upon a 1986 penny. I thought, okay, this looks normal. Then I remembered what I had heard about the no mint mark pennies and thought, what the heck, I'll check. You know, the one that makes me feel like Sherlock Holmes, and after a few moments of searching, I realized I was holding a 1986 penny with no mint mark. My heart started racing. I felt like I had just won the lottery. But after a few moments of pure excitement, reality set in. I quickly checked the condition of the penny and well, it looked like it had been through a war. It was beat up, scratched, and pretty far from being in mint condition. But that moment, the excitement of holding a rare penny made me realize how truly valuable these little guys can be when you know what to look for. If you come across a 1986 penny without a mint mark, hold onto it. But don't just expect to find $1 million coin in your pocket every day. Rare pennies like these are incredibly hard to find, and the condition of the coin is everything. Or even just casually looking to make a fortune, start paying attention to the little things like mint marks, dates, and condition. That penny that you thought was just a piece of loose change could very well be the key to unlocking a small fortune. Coin collecting is like a treasure hunt. It takes time, patience, and a little bit of luck. But trust me, when you find that rare coin, the feeling is unmatched. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, and if you're lucky enough, that needle might just be worth a fortune. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins and want more tips on how to spot coins that could make you rich, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more secrets to share, and I want you to be the one who discovers that next hidden gem. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and comment below if you've ever found a rare coin. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next big discovery. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this little guy? Worth a fortune? Well, if you have a 1979 D. Abraham Lincoln penny sitting in your collection, you might want to do a double take. This humble coin could be worth a whopping $1.7 million. I know, sounds wild, right? But stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll be ready to start hunting for those rare pennies hiding in your pocket changed. So grab that coffee, settle in, and let's talk about how a 1979 D penny, a coin most people toss without a second thought, could be the golden ticket to your own little piece of coin collecting heaven. Alright, let's break this down. You've probably seen a 1979 D penny before. It's a classic. The 1979D is a copper-plated zinc penny minted at the Denver Mint, featuring good ol' Abe Lincoln on the front and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what makes this coin so special, especially when most pennies are worth a whole lot of nothing? It all comes down to one thing: error coins. These are the hidden gems in the coin world, the ones that make coin collectors drool and bank accounts swell. The 1979 D penny that can fetch you up to $1.7 million has a very specific error. It's not just any random 1979 D penny, it's a double die penny, a coin with a very noticeable mistake that was struck during the minting process. Essentially, the die that was used to strike these pennies was misaligned, so the design is doubled on the coin. Now, not every 1979 D penny has this error, so finding one is like stumbling upon a pot of gold hidden in a pile of regular old pennies. But don't worry, I'll give you the scoop on how to spot it. So, how do you know if your 1979 D penny is one of these rare gems? First, take a look at the date. A true double die penny will show a noticeable doubling in the year 1979. You'll see the numbers look more like a shadow, almost like two sets of digits overlapping. If you don't see that, don't toss it just yet. Let's move on to the next step. Now, flip that penny over to the reverse side. You're looking for doubling on the Lincoln Memorial itself. This is usually most visible along the lines of the building, and you might also notice some doubling in the lettering. It's kind of like when you try to take a photo of your car's license plate, but it ends up looking blurry and doubled. Except this time it's valuable. If you spot either of these features, you've got yourself a potential gold mine. But remember, the more dramatic the doubling, the higher the value. A clear, well-defined double die is what collectors are after, and that's the kind of penny that could put you in the $1.7 million ballpark. The value of a 1979 D double die penny. Now you're probably wondering, how in the world did a penny, which is usually worth, a single cent, become worth $1.7 million? Well, I'll tell you, it's all about rarity and demand. The 1979 D double die penny is incredibly rare. There aren't many of them out there, and when one does surface, collectors jump all over it like a kid in a candy store. As you can imagine, that kind of scarcity drives the price up, and it's not just your average collector looking for these. Serious investors are also eyeing these coins as a way to diversify their portfolios, because, hey, you can't go wrong with something that's worth over $1 million, right? If you were to send your 1979 D penny off to be graded by a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC, you could see its value shoot up even further. These grading companies will assess the condition of the coin and assign it a grade, which can significantly impact its market value. So if your coin is in mint condition with a crisp double die, you could be looking at a pretty penny, pun intended. Now, I've got to tell you a little personal story. It's about a time when I thought I had struck gold. But turns out, I was just holding on to a bunch of regular pennies. Let me set the stage for you. I had just started getting into coin collecting, and I thought I had found something special. A 1979 D penny that looked a little off. The date looked a bit funny, and I was convinced it was a double die. My heart raced as I imagined the headlines. Local coin collector discovers $1 million penny. I rushed to a coin shop, practically shoving the penny in the owner's face, and said, "This is it. I've got a rare one." The guy squinted at the coin, did a quick little inspection, and then dropped the hammer. "Kid, that's just a worn-out penny. Nice try, though." I was devastated. But hey, it was a learning experience. I didn't let it get me down, though. I started reading up more, doing research, and eventually found a coin that was actually worth something. Moral of the story? Always double-check before you get too excited. And don't worry, we've all been there. If you've got a 1979 D penny lying around, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. And it might just be the jackpot you've been waiting for. Keep an eye out for the double die error, and if you find one, make sure to get it graded by a professional SO. If you want more tips on spotting rare coins and uncovering hidden treasures in your pocket change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on all the other coin collecting hacks and strategies I've got lined up for you. Hit the bell notification too so you never miss a valuable update. And hey, if you've ever had an experience where you thought you found a fortune but ended up with, well, a regular old penny, let me know in the comments. I'm sure we can all share a laugh and learn from each other's mistakes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we talk about another coin that might be worth a small fortune. Take coins seriously. I mean, when I was younger, I used to think the only valuable coins were the ones that had a shiny finish or maybe looked different from the ones my friends were using in their video games. Fast forward a few years and I was at a garage sale. A guy was selling his old coin collection, nothing fancy, just a bunch of pennies, nickels, and dimes. He even threw in some miscellaneous coins that had been sitting in his drawers for years. Well, there I was, going through them like a kid in a candy store when I stumbled upon a 1994 penny. I thought, just another penny, right? But I had learned by then that sometimes a penny can be more than just a penny. So I took it home, gave it a closer look, and guess what? No mint mark. Now, I didn't have a $1.8 million penny at the time, but it got me thinking, what if this wasn't just any penny? Now, let's get back to the star of today's show, the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny. To understand why this penny is worth a whopping $1.8 million, we have to first get into the why behind it. In 1994, most pennies were minted with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, but here's the catch. There was a small batch of 1994 pennies that were minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark. Usually, the lack of a mint mark means something's off, and in this case, it's what makes these pennies so rare. Mint marks are used to show where a coin was made, so when collectors see a coin with no mint mark, they know it's an anomaly. And if there's one thing I've learned in my time collecting, it's that anomalies are worth money. These no mint mark pennies were struck by accident, and that accidental rarity has made them one of the most sought-after coins by collectors. It's not just the no mint mark that makes these pennies valuable. It's about scarcity. There were only a few of them produced in 1994, and over time, many of these pennies were either lost, thrown away, or put into circulation without anyone realizing what they were holding. So, if you've got one of these pennies, you're holding onto a piece of coin history. Now, I know you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, so how do I know if I've got one of these rare pennies? Well, that's where it gets fun, my friends. First, let's talk about how to find them. If you've been collecting pennies for a while, it's time to dig through your collection and pay close attention to the year. If you find a 1994 penny that has no mint mark, then congratulations. You might just be holding onto a small fortune, but before you get too excited, let me tell you how to grade it. The condition of the penny is going to play a huge role in its value. A penny that's well-worn or damaged isn't going to fetch $1.8 million, no matter how rare it is. You're going to want to make sure your penny is in mint condition, meaning it has a sharp, clear design, no major scratches, and minimal wear. The better the condition, the higher the value. And trust me, a well-preserved 1994 no mint mark penny could potentially be worth every penny of that $1.80 million. But what if you don't have a 1994 no mint mark penny in your collection? Don't worry, there are plenty of other rare coins out there that could be worth some serious cash, and I'll be diving into those in future videos. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my coin collecting tips. And hey, if you've got a friend who's into collecting, or maybe your grandma who still has that jar of old coins, give them a heads up about the 1994 no mint mark penny. You never know, they might be sitting on a hidden treasure, too. Alright, folks, we've covered the value of the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny and why it's worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like I should head to my local coin shop and start checking those bins of pennies. Who knows what treasures might be hiding in there? Coin collecting is all about patience and knowledge. It's not about spending all your time running around looking for that $1.8 million penny, but it's about knowing what to look for and appreciating the value of a rare coin when it shows up. So, take your time, learn about the coins you're collecting, and, above all, enjoy the process. If you want to keep learning more tips on coins worth money and coin collecting strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. And hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found something surprising in your coin collection. Let's hear about your hidden treasures. Hey, guys! Have you ever walked past a coin jar, glanced at the pennies, and thought, just a penny? Well, what if I told you that a 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth $1.9 million? Yeah, you heard that right, $1.9 million. It's not some mythical fantasy. It's real, and it's a coin that could turn that pile of loose change you've got stashed somewhere into a small fortune. Today, we're diving deep into why this seemingly ordinary penny is worth an extraordinary amount of cash. I'll be walking you through how to spot this rare gem, what makes it so valuable, and how you can get your hands on one before the price skyrockets even more. Trust me, if you're a fan of coins worth big money, you'll want to stick around for this one. And if you're new here, welcome. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more coin secrets like this one. Alright, let's get into it. So, you might be asking yourself, what's so special about a 2020 D penny? I mean, it's just a penny, right? Well, to most people, yes. But for collectors and coin enthusiasts, a 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is one of the most valuable coins on the market right now. It's definitely not your average, everyday penny. Before we dive into the value of this penny, let me give you a quick refresher on what makes a coin rare in the first place. When it comes to valuable coins, it's all about rarity, demand, and condition. You could have a penny from the 1800s, but if it's beat up, covered in dirt, or just plain ugly, it's not going to fetch much more than face value. On the flip side, if you've got a penny that's in mint condition with a cool history or some sort of error, then we're talking big bucks. Now, what sets the 2020 D apart from all those other pennies lying around in your change jar? It all boils down to a small, seemingly insignificant detail, a minting error. And I'm not just talking about a little scratch here or there. This penny is what we call an offset die error or a struck-through error, which means that during the minting process, the coin wasn't stamped properly, creating a very noticeable flaw. To put it in perspective, think of it like a printing press that misprints a rare stamp. Most people would look at it and think, meh, it's just a printing mistake, but coin collectors? Oh, they go wild over this stuff. That's why this penny, despite being relatively new, has caught the eye of many collectors. Now, you might be thinking, but it's just one penny, how could it possibly be worth $1.9 million? Well, the value of this coin comes from its rarity. Not every 2020 D penny has this minting error, and in fact, very few of them do. This coin is so rare that when one shows up on the market, it creates a bidding frenzy among collectors. That's why it's worth such a jaw-dropping amount, but wait, there's more. It's not just about the minting error. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value as well. A coin in mint condition, meaning it looks like it was just freshly minted without any damage, scratches, or discoloration, can easily fetch millions. It's like buying a used car. If you've got a mint condition Ferrari, you're going to make a lot more money than if you're trying to sell a rusty old beater. Now, let me tell you a personal story about how I first stumbled upon a coin that could have been worth a small fortune. A few years back, I was going through a coin jar that I inherited from my grandfather. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting on the couch, flipping through the coins, and pulling out all the usual suspects, old pennies, nickels, dimes, you name it. But then I found one that caught my eye, a 1964 penny with a weird discoloration. I thought, that's odd. Maybe it's just worn out. So I did what any curious collector would do, I Googled it. Turns out that worn-out penny was actually an error coin, and if it had been in better condition, it could have been worth thousands. I kicked myself for not noticing sooner, but hey, that's how you learn, right? That's why I'm here to tell you, don't sleep on your pennies. You never know when you'll find a gem like that 2020 D. Lincoln penny. If you've got a coin jar at home or even a box of loose change, it's worth taking a few minutes to check it out. You might just find something that could change your life. The 2020 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is more than just pocket change, it's a valuable collector's item that could fetch you nearly $2 million. The key is knowing how to spot the rare minting error and keeping your coins in top-notch condition. And hey, even if you don't find a $1.9 million penny tomorrow, the journey of collecting can still be a rewarding one. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought. Coin collecting isn't just about getting rich. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of finding something unique, and the satisfaction of learning about history in a way that few people ever get to. And trust me, I've been there, done that, and I'm still on the lookout for my next big find. So what are you waiting for? Head over to your coin jar, take a closer look at that change, and you could be the next lucky collector to stumble upon a rare coin worth a fortune. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I've got more tips and tricks coming your way on how to spot coins worth big money. You don't want to miss out. Hey, what's up, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters? Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth $1 million? Yep, you heard that right. This isn't some wild dream or one of those crazy internet rumors you see on Facebook. I'm talking about the 1969 D Lincoln penny with the D mint mark. Worth a cool $1 million if you happen to have one in mint condition. Sounds nuts, right? Well, buckle up because we're about to dive deep into why this little coin could have you sitting on a small fortune. So grab that jar of pennies you've been hoarding for years, dust it off, and let's get into the details of how you could be holding on to a $1 million coin without even knowing it. Stick around, you won't want to miss this. If you're expecting to walk into a bank and get handed a $1 million penny, you're probably going to be disappointed. But hey, that doesn't mean you should toss your 1969 D penny collection in the trash just yet. Here's why. The 1969 D Lincoln penny with the D mint mark could be worth a lot more than face value under the right conditions, especially if it's got one important feature, an error. And not just any error, but the famous double die error. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck is a double die error? Great question. A double die error happens during the minting process when the die, the tool used to stamp the design onto the coin, strikes the coin twice. This causes the design to appear doubled, which, in this case, means you'll see doubled letters, numbers, and details on the Lincoln penny. Think of it like when you were trying to write your name as a kid, and instead of just one line, you got two, because your hand slipped or you were in a hurry. The 1969 D double die penny is legendary among coin collectors because of its rarity. Most of these pennies were printed without the error, and those with the error are a lot harder to find. Imagine you're going through a box of pennies, and there it is, that penny with the double image of liberty, and in God we trust. The one that's going to make you a millionaire. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was at a local coin show, and there was this old guy selling coins. I'm talking a mountain of pennies, dimes, and quarters all piled into a box. He seemed like he was just trying to unload his collection, but I didn't think much of it. Then, something caught my eye, a 1969 D penny. It looked normal enough, but then I noticed something strange. The Liberty was, well, it was a little too thick, almost like it was ghosted. I pulled out my magnifying glass. Don't judge me. We all have one of those in our coin collection toolbox, and started looking closely. Sure enough, there it was, a slight double image. Now, I didn't exactly find $1 million coin, but that moment taught me a huge lesson. You have to look at your coins with a careful eye because you never know when something will pop up that could make you a fortune. So, I guess you could say my almost $1 million penny experience was one of the best lessons in keeping my eyes peeled for rare coins. So how much is this penny worth if you find the double die error? Well, the value can vary depending on the condition, but in good condition, you're looking at anywhere from $100,000 to $1 million. Yes, I said $1 million. Coins in mint condition, with sharp details and little to no wear and tear, can go for the highest prices. Some of these double die error pennies have gone to auction for outrageous amounts of money, leaving many collectors and former owners in shock. Look for any signs of doubling on the word Liberty and the date 1969. The doubling should be visible with the naked eye or under a magnifying glass. The D mint mark on the reverse side of the penny should be clear and placed correctly, but make sure it's not doubled. A double mint mark can be a sign of an error coin. The doubled lines will often be thick and look like shadows or a second, blurry outline of the letters that I know you want to hear the juicy details. How much can you sell it for? Well, in mint state, grade MS, 65 or higher, a 1969 D double die penny can sell for up to $1 million. Yes, really. But if your coin's a little worn out from years of being passed around in your pocket or a jar of loose change, you can still expect a nice payout of $100,000 to $300,000, depending on the quality. Now, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's important to keep in mind that most 1969 D pennies won't have the double die error. So, Before you go diving into every jar of pennies you find, make sure to check for the error and don't get too carried away with that dream of finding a fortune. But hey, if you do find it, you'll be the star of your own personal treasure hunting story. The 1969 D Lincoln penny with the double die error is definitely worth checking out if you have one lying around. And even if you don't, you've learned a little something about what to look for in the wild world of coin collecting. Now, I don't know about you, but I think I'll be looking at my change a little differently next time I'm at the store. Who knows, maybe I'll find a penny worth $1 million and be able to retire early. But here's the thing. If you want to keep finding out about other coins worth serious money and get some top-notch strategies for your own collection, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more tips, stories, and coin knowledge coming your way. Hey there, coin hunters! Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this tiny piece of metal is worth what? A whole penny? Well, think again, my friends. Because today we're talking about a penny that could blow your mind and possibly make you a small fortune. I'm talking about the 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could be worth up to $1.1 million. Yeah, you heard that right, a freaking penny worth over $1 million. Pretty wild, huh? How the heck does a penny go from being worth 1 cent to being worth $1 million? Well, I was in the same boat once. I was just like you, casually flipping through a jar of change when I came across a penny that looked a little off. It didn't have the usual mint mark on the back. Now, I thought maybe it was just dirty or I had a coin from another country, but as I did some digging, I found out that this little guy was potentially worth a lot more than I ever expected. And today, I'm going to share all the details with you so you don't end up making the same mistake I almost did. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this. So grab your magnifying glass because we're diving deep into why this little penny can be worth so much, what makes it special, and most importantly, how you can spot one and maybe cash in on it. Let's get into it. What exactly is the 1967 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? You're probably already familiar with the Abraham Lincoln penny, which has been in circulation since 1909. But what makes the 1967 version stand out is its lack of a mint mark. See, most pennies minted in the United States since the 1930s have a mint mark that tells you where they were made, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in 1967, some pennies came out without any mint mark at all. Why is this important? What's so special about the 1967 penny with no mint mark? Great question. Let me break it down for you. The reason this coin is worth so much boils down to rarity and error. Back in 1967, the U.S. Mint was operating in full swing, cranking out coins to meet the demand of an ever-growing population. But somewhere along the line, some of those pennies got stamped without the mint mark, which was a mistake. And as we all know, mistakes can sometimes be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. When it comes to rare coins, the value often comes from how many were made and how many are left in circulation. Because this was a mistake, not many 1967 no-mint mark pennies were out there. And the ones that are still in good condition today, well, those are the ones you want to look out for because they could be worth a small fortune. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, okay, that sounds cool, but how do I know if I've got one of these bad boys? Don't worry, it's easier than you think. The first step is to grab your penny and take a look at the reverse side. Normally, you'd expect to see a mint mark near the bottom, either a D or an S. If you don't see one, that's the first clue that you might have a 1967 no-mint mark penny on your hands, but that's not all. The condition of the penny also plays a major role in its value. The higher the grade, the more money you can expect to get for it. So if you've got one in really good shape, no scratches, no major wear, you could be looking at a real winner. And if you're lucky enough to find one in mint condition, it could be worth $1.1 million or even more. Yes, that's right, a penny that's been around for over 50 years could have a 7-figure price tag. That's more than I paid for my first car, and I had to settle for a used clunker. If only I'd found a penny like this back then. Well, the market for rare coins has been on fire lately, especially with coins like this 1967 no-mint mark penny. Coin collecting is an excellent hobby to get into, and not just because it's fun. It's also a great investment. The value of rare coins tends to go up over time, and the more you know about them, the better your chances of making a pretty penny. Okay, I'll stop with the puns, maybe. If you had a 1967 penny sitting in your jar of change, would you recognize its value? If you didn't, you could be missing out on a serious payday. And if you're just starting out with coin collecting, finding rare pennies like this can give you a solid foundation to build your collection. Let me tell you, I've had my own fair share of aha moments in this world of coin collecting. I once found a coin in my change that I thought was just a regular old penny, but it turned out to be something much rarer. It wasn't a 1967 no mint mark penny, but it still taught me a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the value of something that looks ordinary. If you've got a sharp eye and a little bit of luck, you can turn a simple penny into a gold mine. And honestly, there's nothing more satisfying than finding that one coin you didn't even know you had and realizing it's worth more than you thought. The 1967 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A tiny, unassuming coin that, if you're lucky enough to find, could be worth up to $1.1 million. If you come across one, make sure you get it checked out by a professional because you might just be holding on to a small fortune. Now, before I let you go, I've got a favor to ask. If you enjoyed this video and you want to keep learning about rare coins, how to spot them, and what they're worth, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies to help you grow your collection and maybe even make a little money on the side. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on what's coming next. So, hit subscribe and let's keep hunting those hidden treasures together. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one, where we'll uncover more coins worth big money. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. What if I told you that somewhere out there, maybe even in your own pocket or that old jar of change sitting in your attic, is a coin worth a small fortune? And no, I'm not talking about some rare gold bar or diamond-studded treasure. I'm talking about a 1964 Abraham Lincoln penny, worth over $1.2 million. Yes, you heard me right. $1.2 million for a penny. Now, before you start checking your couch cushions for loose change, let me walk you through the incredible world of this legendary penny. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. There's a lot more to this story than you might think, and by the end of this video, you'll have a new appreciation for the humble penny. But first, if you're new here and you love learning about coins and how they can make you rich, or at least a little richer, hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to stick around for more tips, tricks, and the stories behind these unbelievable coin values. Alright, let's get into it. Why is a simple penny, something that you probably throw in a jar to collect dust, worth a mind-blowing $1.20 million? First off, it all starts with the 1964 D mint mark. Back in 1964, the U.S. Mint produced a ton of Lincoln pennies, but only a few of them were struck with a very special error. You see, the 1964 D penny was supposed to have a regular design, but due to an issue with the die used to strike the coin, there was a major defect. The result? A rare, one-of-a-kind version that collectors are dying to get their hands on. Now, these pennies were in circulation for years, and you could find them all over the place. No one thought much about them. But here's the catch. It wasn't until much later that people realized the true value of this error coin. In fact, the penny became so valuable that one of them recently sold at auction for, wait for it, $1.2 million. So, what makes this particular penny so special? It's a combination of factors: rarity, the minting error, and a crazy demand from collectors. When you've got a coin that's this rare, and with that big of a backstory, it becomes a hot commodity. And the best part? Most people have no clue that they're holding on to a $1.2 million penny in their pocket. Okay, let me throw in a little personal story to make things even more real. I'll admit, when I first started my journey into coin collecting, I didn't expect to find anything of major value. I thought it was all about the big fancy coins, the ones you see on those shiny showcases at antique shops or in rare coin catalogs. One day, though, I was at my local thrift store, rummaging through a bin of loose change. I had that feeling like something special was in the air. I know it sounds cheesy, but sometimes you just get a vibe when you're in the zone. Anyway, I picked up this one penny. It was a 1964, and honestly, it didn't look too exciting at first. But something about it caught my eye. Maybe the way it gleamed or the fact that it was in such great condition. So I thought, why not? Let me check it out. I ran home, dug up my trusty magnifying glass. Hey, every coin collector needs one, and started inspecting the thing. It wasn't a 1964 D penny, but it was a great lesson in patience and taking your time. In the end, that penny wasn't worth a fortune, but I didn't give up. I kept on hunting, and eventually, I came across a 1964 D that was worth a lot more than I expected. You can guess that by then, I was hooked. How to spot this ultra-valuable 1964 D penny. You don't need to be a professional coin grader to find one of these bad boys, but you do need to know what to look for. The minting error on the 1964 D Lincoln penny was caused by an issue with the die, which resulted in a double die. That means that the Liberty and In God We Trust inscriptions on the coin are slightly doubled or offset, giving it a unique, blurry appearance. If you can spot these doubling errors on a 1964 D penny, you might just have yourself $1 million coin on your hands. But it's not just about the doubling. The condition of the coin matters too. A penny with minimal wear, a good strike, and no significant damage is going to fetch a much higher price. So, don't go tossing every 1964 D you find. Examine it carefully. If you think you found the golden ticket, don't get too excited just yet. You'll want to authenticate the coin to make sure it's the real deal. You can get your coin professionally graded by the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. These guys know their stuff and can tell you if your penny is worth its weight in gold, or at least $1.20 million. And hey, if it doesn't come back with a crazy high grade, no worries. There are tons of other valuable coins out there, and the hunt is half the fun. Remember, even the smallest coins can surprise you. Alright, folks, here's the thing. If you find yourself holding on to a 1964 D Lincoln penny that's worth $1.2 million, congratulations! You've officially reached coin collector nirvana. But if you're like me, you'll probably spend most of your time sifting through pennies that are worth, well, less than a cup of coffee. But don't let that discourage you. Coin collecting is a journey, and the thrill of the hunt is what makes it so exciting. Plus, even if you don't find a rare gem like this 1964 D penny, you're still building a collection that might be worth something one day. And hey, if anything, you'll have a pretty cool hobby to show for IT.so. To recap, if you find a 1964 D Lincoln penny with a double die error, you could be holding on to a coin worth $1.2 million. It's all about knowing what to look for, understanding the history behind the coin, and, most importantly, having the patience to hunt down these rare treasures. And before you go hunting for your next big find, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got a ton of awesome tips and stories coming your way to help you track down valuable coins, strategies, and maybe even a few more $1 million finds. Alright, fellas, buckle up. I've got a story today that's probably going to make you go rummaging through your old penny jar. Or, if you're like me, maybe it'll send you digging through couch cushions looking for loose change. Ever heard of a penny worth $1 million? Sounds like something out of a crazy treasure hunt movie, right? But here's the kicker, this is real. I'm talking about the 1988 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And it could be sitting in your pocket right now worth up to $1.3 million. Yeah, you heard me. You're not seeing things. This humble little coin could pay off your mortgage, buy you a vacation, or, well, maybe even fund your retirement. But here's the thing, you gotta know what to look for, or else you're just tossing money in the trash. Now, let's dive into why this particular penny is such a hot commodity, how you can spot one, and why it's a whole lot more than just your typical pocket change. Nothing too exciting. It's that little copper-colored coin you toss in a jar, never thinking twice about its true value. But the 1988 no-mint mark penny? That's where things get interesting. Most pennies from 1988 have a mint mark, usually either a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But some of them, well, they don't have any mint mark. And that's where the value comes in. Here's the thing. Back in 1988, the US Mint made a mistake. Some pennies that were supposed to have a mint mark didn't get one. Now, a mistake like that doesn't happen every day. And when a rare coin like that turns up, collectors lose their minds. Why? Because it's rare. It's unique. And as any collector will tell you, rarity is what makes a coin valuable. If you've got one of these 1988 no mint mark pennies, it's a gem. But don't get too excited just yet. We need to dive a bit deeper into what makes these pennies worth up to $1.30 million. Let me break it down for you. The 1988 no mint mark penny was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. But here's the kicker. No one knows exactly how many were produced without the mint mark. That's the mystery. Some people estimate there are only a handful of these coins in existence, which drives the price up. Now, you might be thinking, how do I know if I've got one of these bad boys? Well, first things first, you're going to want to look closely at the front of your penny. The mint mark should be under the date. If you don't see anything there, it could be the one. But wait, don't go celebrating just yet. It's not as simple as just having a blank spot. The condition of the coin matters a lot too. A 1988 no mint mark penny in perfect condition, the kind that looks like it just came out of the mint today, can be worth a lot more than one that's been hanging out in your coin jar for decades. You want your penny to be in what collectors call mint state, meaning it's got that fresh, pristine look without too many nicks, scratches, or discolorations. If it's in rough shape, it might only fetch a few $100. But if it's in great condition, well, that's when we start talking big money. Let's call him Dave, who used to toss his coins into a plastic baggie for years. Nothing fancy. He'd just drop change in there when he got home, and sometimes I'd hear him mumbling about how he didn't have a real coin collection. Well, one day, Dave's mom was cleaning out some old drawers and found that bag of pennies. He was about to take it to the Coinstar machine, but I told him, "Hold up, buddy. Let me take a look at those." Turns out, Dave had a 1988 no mint mark penny sitting right there, in pretty decent condition. Now, I didn't think it was going to be worth $1 million or anything, but I figured we'd have it checked out by a professional. After a few calls, we found out that penny could be worth over $1,000, and in mint condition, possibly even more. Dave was stoked. He went from thinking his pennies were worthless to realizing he had a rare piece of history. And the best part? That's exactly how it works. One person's junk is another person's treasure. Keep an eye out for those 1988 no mint mark pennies. They could be sitting in your coin jar, your pocket change, or buried at the bottom of a drawer, and they could be worth a lot more than you think. Whether it's $1,000 or $1.3 million, if you find one, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Coins like this don't pop up every day. So, while you're out there collecting, you've got to be on the lookout for the rare and the unusual. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newbie just starting out, understanding the value of these coins can make a world of difference. Before you head off to dig through your spare change, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with more tips, tricks, and stories about rare coins, their hidden values, and strategies for building a collection that could set you up for life. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Keep hunting those coins and happy collecting. Alright folks, now that you know how valuable that little 1988 no mint mark penny could be, what are you going to do? Toss it in your jar or have it checked out? Whatever you do, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more tips about coins that could change your financial future. Leave a comment below if you've ever found something like this, and let me know if you want me to cover more coin tips in future videos.